Hey everyone, it's me with ADHD and it's time. 6 months on Adderall. It's been a long one and it's definitely been an interesting one. I have quite a bit of stuff to tell you guys. I'm pretty excited to let you guys know how it went, so let's get right into it, right? Okay, so like I told you guys in the last video, I upped my milligrams from 20 milligram to 30 milligram right at the end of the month. I just wanted to kind of see if it would help me with how tired I was. I didn't realize that I was tired because I was getting not as much sleep and not because the Adderall wasn't working for me anymore, because it was. At first it felt really great, you know, it felt like this is where I should be. This is great. I felt super comfortable, I felt like energetic, I felt like I could focus really well again. I know that's a running theme for it, but that's like the biggest, most important part of Adderall is the fact that you don't need other sources to help you focus anymore. It's really great like that. The problem was, the reason why I went up was because I felt like I had no energy, and when I started to get more sleep again, the Adderall started working again properly, and then I noticed that it was too much for me. And the reason why it was too much was because, one for instance would be when somebody takes Adderall who has ADHD and somebody who takes Adderall who doesn't have ADHD, the person who doesn't have ADHD is like, they have to be doing something, they keep working, they just, it's like an overload for them. Somebody who does have ADHD, for them it's the opposite. It's the complete opposite. It's kind of like, it chills you out. Or that's kind of how I've experienced it, and people I've talked to have experienced it. It levels you out. So for me, I felt like at 30 milligram, I was a little bit too chill. You know, just a little bit. Because like I would have conversations with people and they would be like, "Are you alright?" And I would sit there and I'd be like, "Hey, yeah, I'm good." Like I couldn't think of what I wanted to say. Like the simplest things, I just couldn't get it. It wouldn't come to my mind, and that's kind of, every person with ADHD has a similar form of this. Like when they're not on medication, you have like a problem with your short-term memory. And that's like when you have to snap remember something. You know, something that's really simple that kind of stays at the back of other people's minds, that when they need to do it, it kind of autopilots for them. Well, for ADHDers, it's not like that. So like, it was explained to me once that like, everybody's short-term memory is like a conveyor belt, right? And then people without ADHD, they have like a little bin at the end, and everything that they kind of learn in their short-term memory goes and sits in this bin so that they can pick it out whenever they want. Well, for us, it's like there's a hole in the bottom of that bin, and every time something goes along the conveyor belt and hits the end, it's just going to drop, and then when we go to reach in to grab that, it's not going to be there, and then we're going to be stuck thinking, "Oh, what is it? What is," you know, and that kind of amplified tenfold when I was taking too high of a medication, which is not the effect that I wanted to have. I wanted to have the complete opposite effect to that. So that was a really big issue for me. That in turn led to another issue, which was my wife started to notice that I just kind of would check out. So I would be fully checked out. I'd be so into something that I was doing, a task that I'd been given, all that kind of stuff, that I just checked out from everything else. You know, like I wasn't as kind of emotionally invested in everything else. I'm only focused on what I'm doing. So that became a really big issue as well. The next thing that I found was the crashes. Dude, the crashes were insane. So like 6 o'clock, I have like extended release. So I would take my Adderall at like 7:30 when I go to work. And then by like 4:30, 5 o'clock, I'd start to feel like I'm getting a bit tired. And then I would get to like 5:30 when I got home, 6 o'clock. And that was it. I was absolutely dead. Like my brain was still going, but my body was like exhausted, and I just kind of crashed. And the only thing I could do was sit and kind of zone out either the TV or my phone or all this kind of stuff. And that was a problem again, because it's not great when every single night you get home, you've just been able to go to work and do your stuff. Then when you get home, you're kind of dead. You know, it just doesn't work. So that was an issue. I would say one more issue that I found was the days that I didn't take it, I felt like I was on like some kind of come down. I felt like my head was hurting. I felt so tired. I had to nap like 3 times a day. Like, it just kind of made me so tired not to have it. I tried to compensate that with coffee, but it wasn't enough. That was pretty intense. So at this point, I'd kind of been taking it for like 5 months, something like that, and I felt like it was really different, you know. But I was stuck in this point where I was just kind of going with it, you know. I was like, this is how it is. I'm gonna, you know, keep going. And the thing that was the final nail in the coffin for me at 30 milligram was probably the fact that my Tourette's got progressively worse and worse, and that was making me like super frustrated. And that sucks because, you know, I was obviously warned when I first started taking it that you're taking a stimulant, and when you take a stimulant, it can increase the effects of your Tourette's, you know, your tics, all that kind of stuff. So I knew that it was coming at some point, but this got progressively worse and worse. And then by the time I'd reached like 5 to 6 months, my Tourette's were like 10 times worse than they've ever been. And my wife had noticed it a lot. People at work had noticed it a lot. Basically, it was just really hard to hide it anymore. On, you know, I don't even like to say hide it, because I don't think that people should hide anything like that, but it can, when you have like loud tics and stuff like that, it can be really kind of a little bit embarrassing. So you learn ways to cope with it to keep it a little bit quieter, all that kind of stuff. Well, I was unable to do that anymore. It was just too much. Night was like awful, because Tourette's and tics are worse when you're tired. So I would be at a point at night where I was so tired, but my brain was still so active from the extended release Adderall that I was kind of stuck in this limbo where my Tourette's were bad because I was tired, but my Adderall was keeping me awake so I couldn't go to sleep. And yeah, it just wasn't a very good cycle. But that's when I went to the doctor and we discussed how we can make changes to it. So at first I thought maybe if I didn't take extended release and I took 2 tablets a day instead, took 1 in the morning and then 1 little bit later on in the afternoon, that will keep me a little bit awake in the evening. But then I thought, well, if the extended release is keeping me up so late on in the evening, then that's not going to help. So we discussed halving my dosage. What we did was we halved it from 30 milligrams down to 15, and that's what I've been on ever since. Now, since then, it has been amazing. It's been really amazing, because I feel like this is probably the exact amount that I'm supposed to take. I felt like I got everything back. I felt like my personality, it came back. I felt like I was like super bubbly again and bouncy in my attitude, and I'm bouncing right now. But yeah, I felt like super bubbly again. I felt like happier. I didn't feel like a zombie anymore. I could sleep again. My Tourette's has gone down significantly, like 80% back down, which is really amazing. And I still get all of the great effects from Adderall, so I still get the fact that I can switch my focus properly now, which I couldn't in the past. I still feel like my memory's a little bit better now. You know, all of these things that the Adderall helps you with, I feel them now, but I also don't feel like it's too much. So I would say that if you're going to take Adderall, or you're going to take Ritalin, or any of these kind of things, make sure that you test up and down and find the right dosage, the exact right dosage, because there is a right dosage for you and it'll really help you, I promise. But that's all I have for the 6 month. Pretty soon it's going to be a year, so I'm going to upload the 1 year one as well. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if any of these experiences are any similar to what you've experienced. I really want to hear about it. I love hearing about it. Comment in the comment section about it. Make sure that you liked the video if you did, and also don't forget to subscribe. Click the bell icon if you want to stay up to date with all my new content as well. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.